first of all, ignore the hamper that is down there and the pillows. I've actually got some friends visiting soon. If you don't know, I live in Canada and I'm originally from London, England, and some of our friends from England are coming to visit, so I made them a little hamper, and we obviously brought them some clothes. Not some clothes, some pillows and a quilt and things. So yeah, that's just what's over here, so ignore that. I am now 60% in on Caraval, and I actually need to charge my Kindle. Guys, Stephanie Garber writes fairy tale whimsy like no other. It is absolutely incredible the way she writes such fun, enticing, alluring, delicious stories. Absolutely loved the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which you definitely need to read. I actually have a book boyfriend from that series, Jax, who apparently might actually feature in this book, so that's quite exciting. I haven't seen anything from him yet. But anyway, besides the point, definitely read Once Upon a Broken Heart. I am 60% in on this book and I can feel that it's going to be a 5-star already. I've already said on Instagram to everyone, this is a 5-star feeling through and through. So you might be wondering, what is Caraval actually about? It will probably be useful for me to give you a bit of a breakdown of the book so far. I'll try not to spoil anything, but obviously be aware that I know I'm going to give away some plot details, so if that's not something you want to hear right now, skip forward. So at the start of Caraval, we meet two sisters. One's named Donatella, who is very kind of carefree. She isn't very sensible and she's always getting herself into trouble. And we meet her sister, who is the opposite, very sensible, very wise, and is doing everything she can to make the best out of their situation. They live with their father, who is an evil, narcissistic man, and then a situation occurs where her sister runs away. It's hard to explain without spoiling the plot, but let's just say her sister runs away to this magical carnival type thing where you can win one wish if you participate and win. So that's basically the gist of the story, you could say. There's two sisters and they go on a journey or a quest to participate in this game where they can win one wish. There's romance in it, it's a fairy tale, it's very whimsical. There's just some really interesting quirks to the book that you just really want in a make-believe world. I actually did a writing course by Rebecca Ross, my favourite author of Divine Rivals, and she was saying that the main thing you need to think about when writing books is, what kind of world would you want to live in? What sparks joy in you? That's what Stephanie Garber does so well. It's like creating these tiny little details of worlds that are just so magical and really speaks to your inner child. It's enchanting, that's what it is. Stephanie Garber's books feel like a lucid dream. Random things occur and you don't really know how you got there. There's almost a bit of creepiness to it. For example, the main character Scarlett is trying to figure out where her sister is, because that's part of the game that she enters into, and she's having to go around and figure out clues. One of them says, follow the man with the black heart. It leads her to this bridge where there's this man with a monkey on his shoulder, and he says to her, if you drink this liquid, you'll be able to see clearly. She drinks the juice and everything turns black and white, but then she sees certain people with colour and she's obviously like, okay, that's going to lead me to more clues. And it's just things like this which are just so imaginative and so creative, and as I say, just you just don't know what's going to happen in the next turn. But yeah, that's how I'm feeling about the book. I'm obviously infatuated by it and I just can't stop reading it. Absolutely loving every second, especially the romance. Like, it almost feels like romance is a subplot, but it's also pretty much the core of the book. But just so much happens besides the romance. It's just balanced absolutely perfectly, because sometimes you can have fantasies that focus too much on the fantasy or too much on the romance, whereas this is just the perfect balance. And yeah, I'm absolutely loving it so much. The first thing I need to tell you is, if my face looks super swollen, I have 4 wisdom teeth coming through, so I'm waiting for a dentist appointment to get them all removed, but currently my face is pretty much inflamed. I have a massive headache, and yeah, I don't know what's important about that, but I kind of just want to say, if my face looks very weird during this video, that's why, okay? But I have now finished Caraval and it was absolutely a 5-star through and through. I cannot wait to finish the series, although I'm not going to be doing it in this video, but fantastic ending. So many plot twists that I didn't expect. As I say, the perfect balance between fantasy and romance, and just something refreshing from what I've been reading lately. So thoroughly enjoyed it, and it couldn't have come at the better time. It's actually my book club read, which is really fortunate, and I feel like all of the girls love it. Well, what I've seen so far, it seems like they're all loving it, so I can't wait to talk to them about it. But just really happy I picked up Caraval when I did. But we are now moving on to the next book, which is really fun, guys. I love mood reading so much because what I did today was look at my book cart and I said to myself, what do I want to read? What is pulling me in? What is drawing me in right now? And I just picked the book and that's what I'm reading. And I don't know, something about it just felt very riveting. So the book that we're reading next is A Fate Inked in Blood by 𝕃𝕚𝕟𝕜𝕤. And if you can't tell, this is a Norse mythology fantasy book. I believe it's romantasy as well, so I believe there is some romance in this. I could be completely wrong, but that's kind of the vibe I've got from it from seeing people's reviews. But if you have been on BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram, you probably have heard of this book. I got it in May and it's the book of the month May pick that I chose. But yes, I am very intrigued and I fancy reading this at the minute. So that's what we're gonna do. All I really know about this is that the main character is called Freya, and I believe she's trying to save her nation from a power-hungry king. Apparently she's blessed by the gods. As I say, Norse mythology, I don't know how many times I've said that now. But if you know me, you know that I love history and I absolutely love the Viking era. I just find it so interesting and fascinating, and I loved the show Vikings so much. Oh my god, Ragnar. Let me just say that, guys. I'm gonna put a picture on the screen. Okay, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, I feel like I've been waffling for so long now. I think we should just get started on A Fate Inked in Blood. I'm about to go on a cozy little rainy walk and I thought it would be fun to listen to A Fate Inked in Blood whilst doing so. So let's go and do that together. I shall show you my cozy little walk and hopefully we don't get too drenched. I feel like my cheeks look super red right now, but guys, we are back from our walk and it was delightful. It was absolutely splendid. Felt like I was in A Fate Inked in Blood because it was misty, it was rainy, there was a river running through the world, and it was just magical. Okay, I've used so many adjectives to describe this bloody journey, but it was great. I also picked up the Pumpkin Spice Cafe whilst at Walmart. This seems like the perfect fall read. I mean, it's obviously marketed as that because it's called the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, but you get what I mean. The last time I was in Walmart, I looked at this and almost picked it up and I didn't. So I've been regretting it ever since, and kind of the reason I went on that walk was basically to pick it up. So I'm glad that they had a copy left. Apparently the main character in this book inherits her auntie's cafe and there's a small town romance involved, and it just seems really wholesome and sweet and cozy and the exact vibes that you kind of want for this time of the year coming up. So look out for me reading this in a future video. In regards to the video actually at hand, we are going to talk about A Fate Inked in Blood now, which I'm not gonna lie, I had high expectations for, and within the first 100 pages I thought there was a lot of potential there, but it's lost a bit of momentum for me in terms of storyline at this point. But yeah, as I say, within the first 100 pages there are some quite deep topics broached. Our main character deals with an abusive husband, and I thought that the book was going to be quite intense, and I was very much, you know, looking forward to that in a way because there's potential that it could be really emotional and would set it apart from some of the kind of fantasies I've been reading at the minute which don't delve into those adult topics. But unfortunately after the first 100 pages, as I say, it falls a little bit flat and it's a little bit predictable in my opinion. But yeah, let me just kind of explain what it's about. So the main character is called Freya and she is blessed by the goddess Hiln, Bjorn, which basically means she can shout "protect me, Hiln" up into the sky, and she will be granted the protection of her goddess who favoured her. Whilst Freya was a child, her father said to her that she couldn't tell anyone about her power, and she doesn't really know why, but one day she is forced to kind of reveal her power to the world, and she finds out why. I'm not going to tell you because I don't want to spoil it, but it was a very intriguing story. You know, from that description you probably think that sounds really good, and it is, but as I say, it falls somewhat flat after about 100 pages, unfortunately. What I really like about this though is that there is some spice, there is some romance. I didn't actually know it was going to be spicy at all, so that's always a good surprise for me. We haven't got to the climax of the spice, if you will, yet, so I shall update you on whether or not it's good and whether or not it's worth it, but I feel like that's kind of the best bit for me at the minute, which is annoying because I was really kind of hoping to enjoy this more for the Norse mythology aspect, but can't fault it really for that, can I? So yes, with that being said, we are going to put some Modern Family on, well it's already on, and read the rest of A Fate Inked in Blood. Oh my god, you actually just, oh my boyfriend is being really annoying right now, but I just finished A Fate Inked in Blood and I would not recommend it, unfortunately. I gave it 3 stars, which, well, my 3-star rating is usually I enjoyed some parts but I just wouldn't read it again and I wouldn't recommend it. As I said, it had a really exciting start. I was hooked. I was flicking through the pages up to about page 150 when we kind of hit a bit of a lull and I just lost interest. So yes, at the start the characters were compelling, I was intrigued, I thought this had a lot of potential, and then things just kind of, you know, it just lost momentum, as we've already said. The main thing that I didn't really enjoy about this book is that the romance kind of overtook the plot. I mean, more so the spice overtook the plot, which is something I never thought I would have an issue with. But, you know, reading a fantasy book based on Norse mythology, there are a lot of intense scenes that require the characters to be very serious, and in a lot of those scenes the main character is just lusting over her main love interest, and it just took away from the seriousness, for lack of a better word. They would be having, you know, intense conversations, we'd find out some, you know, crazy information about a potential war, and our main character would just be thinking about how much she wants to with Bjorn, the main love interest. So yeah, it just didn't add up and it just didn't add to the kind of plot. The other main thing that I didn't really like is that there wasn't enough world building, and I saw a review that said that if the person who wrote the review said, if I hadn't have watched the TV show Vikings, I wouldn't have known how to picture any of this, and I totally agree with that. When I saw that review, I was like, that is 100% so true. I was literally picturing the TV show Vikings at some parts of it, and, you know, again, if I hadn't have watched that show, I would have been so confused and I would have been like, what is going on right now? So maybe if you're going to read this book, watch the TV show Vikings for a bit of kind of, I don't know, visual representation about what you're supposed to be picturing. But yeah, you shouldn't have to watch a TV show to be able to picture something that's going on in a book, should you? Okay, that's just a common sense and that's just a given. So yes, those are the 2 things that I didn't quite enjoy about this book: the kind of romance overtaking the plot and the world building, or lack of world building, let's just say that. Overall, I think I'm feeling a little bit disappointed by it, and I don't think I'll be continuing the series, unfortunately. So that is the end of the video. I don't think I'll go on for any longer about A Fate Inked in Blood. I will leave the review that I posted on Bookstagram here, so if you want to know my kind of more detailed thoughts, then that will be here. But yes, I think that'll be the end of the video. As I say, I'm going to be filming a vlog next, so look out for that, because I'm going to Banff, which is super exciting. So I'm going to be filming some kind of content for that. And yes, what was I going to say? But yeah, I was going to read another book for this vlog, but I kind of just fancy listening to the audiobook of Kingdom of Ash instead, so it kind of just doesn't really make sense for me to include that in this video. So yes, there's only 2 books for this, unfortunately, sorry about that, but hopefully you've enjoyed it so far and you will consider subscribing and watching more, and hopefully I'll see you next time. If so, make sure to leave some book recommendations in the comments and video recommendations, which I'll be happy to do. And yes, other than that, I shall love you and leave you. Lots of love, bye!